Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn the volume up. There we go. Welcome to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Wow. Where to even start, man? We'll go through the stats, I think, first, just to kind of... Sometimes it's good even for me because I start getting out and saying stuff and then I just forget. Like, oh, wow, I didn't realize he did that good, or I didn't, that bad, or whatever. Just kind of give some perspective on what the heck I just watched. But let me just say, man, I have rarely or seldom felt, and I felt this way last week, but 2 weeks in a row, the level of pride for the team in general. Like every week, there was frustrating stuff. I was frustrated again with the defense early on, especially with the pass game where it's like there's just always somebody open. It was really frustrating. But man, holy cow. The defense stepped up down in the second half. That was one of the scariest, most dominant. I mean, it was over. Every play was like a sack. It was almost a competition between the defensive linemen of who can get there first. It was just an absolute slaughter. Oh, but beyond that, the offense. And I will say the offensive line, really disappointing. I don't know who to point fingers at. Rashid. Again with the penalties, man. I mean, that's too much. We cannot be doing that with the penalties. Some of those are super costly. I feel bad for Josh Jacobs. I mean, it seemed like every time he got a big run, it came back. And now his stats don't look very good. Not that it actually matters, but it bothers me. I mean, he's better than that. He did better than that. And again, that's why, things like PFF grades and whatnot matter. They grade the tape. They're going to see that. They're going to, credit these things. But, I mean, those are costly, and we can't be doing that. But, man, the ability of Malik to step up and the wide receivers to step up. There was like one drop from Tucker that was painful. It was a third down, hit him right in the hands. And again, as stupid as I am, I don't know why I was stuck on the stats. My first thing is, dang it, that's going to be a drop for Malik, or that's going to be an incomplete for Malik. It's going to make him look worse. It's like, that's not what matters, man. What matters is, he's playing good and they didn't get the first down. But just the way that they stepped up, I mean, there'd be a penalty. It's 3rd and 15, and I'm sitting there going, this is where coaches always tell you, like, there's not much in the playbook for this kind of stuff. And then you got a guy like Malik in there, so you're really worried, and it's like, And in those moments, and again, credit to everybody, and that includes the offensive line. In those moments, he's got time, and you get a guy like Romeo Doubs, 15-yard strike. You get a guy, I don't know what it actually was, but it was way downfield. That Christian Watson pass was like, this guy is just a quarterback, dude. This isn't like just a game manager that's got some good coaching around him. Like, he's throwing quarterback throws. I'm watching on Red Zone all the other games. I'm seeing professional quarterbacks missing these throws. But again, Christian to get open. Jaden, again, I just feel like the guy carries the team. He's so good. I'm shocked at the his punt returning doesn't seem, I know that's hard, but it kind of looks like, I don't know, whatever. Man, when he gets the ball in his hand, especially behind the line of scrimmage, he is the scariest thing ever. There's never, I said on the live stream, he reminds me of Aaron Jones. Obviously, they're very different, but insofar as, you'd look and say there's nothing there. Like, it's a dead play, and he just slips through. He just finds this little crack, and he's so quick and twitchy. It's just their ability to persevere, man, and just push through, and guys stepping up. I mean, Christian Watson had a Romeo Doubs, like what Romeo Doubs did last week, where he mossed a guy. It was an underthrown ball. He jumps up, reaches over the guy, and grabs the ball. I mean, again, it just reminds me of that Brett Favre after his dad died day against the Raiders, where it was just like, before the game, I don't remember who said it, but before the game, essentially the receivers came together and said, we're not going to drop one frickin' ball, and they didn't. They went up and caught everything. Some of those balls were great. Some of those balls were disastrous. But those guys would not let that down, and I feel like we got that from the receivers. I didn't see like what the heck are you doing? Guys in the wrong spot, dropping ball, da-da-da-da. They were right there where they needed to be. They were ready to do their part to carry the team. Malik was unbelievable again, overcoming adversity. Just really, 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 really happy with the production of this team and the ability to just do what needs to be done, and in such commanding fashion. That's the other thing that's crazy about this. Rams got the ball. So the other thing that's crazy about all this is that everything I'm saying could have been true in a 21-20 victory very easily. I don't know if you noticed. This was not a close game. I did, and again, I said coming into this, I think the Packers win. I was nervous. We went through what everybody else had to say, and I thought they were valid points. Again, I wasn't so sure that their run defense was as good as everybody claimed it to be. Not everybody. Again, PFF is like their run defense sucks, which maybe proved to be true. But this was a 30-14 victory with our backup quarterback who's been here, 3-4 weeks now? And I mean, this every single one of us came into this going, man, if we could just steal a win here, if we could just find a way, use Malik's legs or whatever, find a way to squeak out nothing. I mean, it's kind of a rare thing to just dunk on a team that drastically. And they did it. They've got some luck against Tennessee, man. I don't know what it is. They just dominate Tennessee. Maybe it's the connection. I don't know. I doubt it, but I don't know. Top to bottom, man. I mean, you can go through the whole roster. I was even dunking on Preston a little bit because somebody was talking about Rashawn. I'm like, oh, stop it. It's always Rashawn. Everybody's picking on Rashawn. He had a sack that got taken back. He's there all the time. He's in the guy's face. Like, leave Rashawn alone. Like, if you want to make fun of somebody, well, how about Preston? That guy's done nothing. Immediately Preston sack, followed by another like Preston sack, and Preston just dominated. So anyways, as I said, why don't we get started with some statistics here. It is funny. I'm just using the NFL Pro thing or whatever. And right in the middle, they've got the percent chance a team wins. The game started with the Titans just at 55-45. Like, they never had a huge lead. Immediately, within like seconds, it's 50-50. And then by how much time is left? 13:43 in the first quarter, 57% the Packers win. It kind of danced around a little bit, but by, let's see, when is this? This is quarter one. Narveson kicks a 65 yards from Green Bay end zone, touchback, Tennessee, whatever. For whatever reason, at that moment, it was 73% that the Packers win, but they must have scored right before that. Is that what it was? Let's see. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Packers 73%, and it just went up from there. So before the second quarter, it was, I don't want to say over, but at that point, it was Packers all day. And that's what's funny about it. You go into this, and it's, Tennessee's getting 3 points, and you look at it and say, it's 55%. If the Packers drive down and kick a field goal, now it's probably like Packers 53% that they win. It's that's how fickle it is. It's very, very nothing. But let's talk about Malik Willis, man. 13 of 19, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 68.4 completion percentage, 120.9 passer rating, 10.6 yards per attempt. He had, I want to say like 124 passer rating last week. Let me see if I click on him, if I can see it. I'm stunned. One of the things I want to do this week is look at over the last 2 weeks, especially Malik, how good of a job he's done. It's taken a long time to get that going, but I'm pretty sure it was something like that. So he had, and again, he's not passing much, but I'd love to see his completion percentage, especially for PFF, the adjusted, which gets rid of the drops and all that stuff. It's going to be through the freaking roof. The touchdown to interception ratio is phenomenal, especially if you factor in the rushing touchdown, which I don't think you normally do, but I will. Incredible. By the way, he was our leading rusher in this game. Malik Willis, 6 attempts for 73 yards and a touchdown. His longest rush was for 29 yards. Let's see if Malik's popped up here yet. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So let's go through the rest of the running backs. Let's go based on attempts. Josh Jacobs was number 1. 43 yards, 3.1 yards per attempt, 10 yards was his longest. Again, he got just straight up screwed. Just absolutely screwed on this. He had some really good runs. I swear every single one of them came back from a penalty. He had a good day. I could not care less what the stats say. If anybody wants to say Josh Jacobs didn't look good, you're just wrong. Emmanuel Wilson, 12 carries, 50 yards, 4.2 yards per attempt. His longest was also 10 yards. I love Emmanuel Wilson as well. Both of these guys, their ability And Wilson is, I'm so happy for Wilson. I think all of us are in this place because we watched him and it's like, dude, he's good. And it's like, yeah, it's preseason, whatever. It's like, yeah, I know. But it's like every time he touches the ball, he's just good. And my whole thing has always been, I don't know about the blocking. I don't know about the receiving. But some guys just are natural runners. They're just intuitive. They know where to go. And Emmanuel Wilson is that guy. And I'm happy for the guy that he's getting the opportunity that he deserves. What was that? As soon as, again, with the opposite day thing, as soon as I talk about Kyler Murray and how good he is, he throws it 40 feet over Marvin Harrison for some reason. And I've got, on Prize Picks, by the way, I have him throwing over something. I don't know what, but he's got to complete some freaking passes here. Or maybe it's attempts. Oh, it is attempts. Then I don't care. Just keep airmailing it. I don't care. Anyways, sorry. Emmanuel Wilson is, I don't know. I'm just appreciative of him. He's just a diamond in the rough. Goody does it again. But again, I'm just glad. Oh, that's a penalty. I'm just glad that he's getting the opportunity because under any other circumstance, he would not be, I'm not going to throw a flag. I swear, these refs, they love throwing flags all day except for the blatantly obvious ones. They don't bother with those. Emmanuel Wilson's the type of guy that just would never have gotten an opportunity if it wasn't for all the injuries with Dylan and everybody else. And it's just paying off, and I'm just happy for him. I don't know what happens when we get our draft pick back. I mean, he'll be the number 3. He'll still get some carries. But I'm excited about it, man. I think Emmanuel Wilson has a good career here in Green Bay. I don't think they're going to let him go. I really don't. He's too good for that. I don't know how far down the roster he's going to go, but I mean, Dylan, I don't think he'll be here next year. So we'll have Josh Jacobs, we'll have Emmanuel Wilson, and we'll have the guy that we drafted whose name is escaping me. I don't know why this draft class, I can't remember anybody's name. I don't know what it is. Like Jordan Morgan could never, please be my guy. Please be my guy. Please be my guy. Oh, it's DeMarcus Robinson. If that was my guy, I would have made $500. I need Tyler Johnson, man. Come on. Sorry, I'm going to try to stop doing that. Moving on, we've got, we already talked about Malik. Brooks, who we just brought up, he kind of closed out the game for us. He had 3 attempts for 3 yards, so good for him. Obviously didn't do much, didn't have much opportunity. Doesn't matter. And then, of course, we've got Jaden Reed. He had his 2 attempts for 19 yards. By the way, the team's yards per attempt is really high, almost exclusively because of Jaden Reed. Like, we've had some bad games as far as yards per attempt, but our team yards per attempt is through the roof because Jaden Reed ends up with like 15, 19, 20 yards per attempt. He only had 9.5 in this game, and Malik Willis with his 12.2 really makes our team look really, really good despite, 3.1, 4.2, and 1 yard per carry. But look, running is running. You got a run game, you got a pass game. There's no rule that says your running game only means your running backs. That's not how that works. All right. Receivers, let's go with targets. Most targeted was Reed. I tell you what, man, it feels weird saying it for some reason. At this point, I don't think there's any denying Jaden Reed is the number 1 wide receiver. He has been by far the most dominant guy on this team. He is unstoppable behind the line of scrimmage as a runner. He was the most targeted by double. Tucker Kraft was targeted 3 times, Jaden Reed 6. Just crazy. Anyways, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards, 12.5 yards per reception. His longest was a 30-yard reception. Tucker Kraft, 2 of 3 for 24 yards. He had a decent game, but again, that drop on 3rd down was pretty brutal. Christian Watson, 2 for 2 for 67 yards. He had a 33.5 yards per reception. His longest was 37, which means basically both of them were 30-pointers. Kicking leaders today. Braden Narvison was up there. Romeo Doubs was 1 for 2 for 18 yards. Dontavian Wicks was 0 for 2. So the Dontavian Wicks train is cooling rapidly. Through 3 weeks, he has just not been that dude. But you give him time, man. Sometimes, like guys like Christian Watson, I'm not saying he's been bad. I don't think he has. But we've seen situations where it's like week 9 or 10 and they kind of pop off. So the bottom line is we have all these guys. And eventually somebody's going to have a big day. As long as we got a guy that's going to have a day, I feel good about it. Emmanuel Wilson, 2 for 2 for 35 yards and a touchdown. I like that guy. Josh Jacobs, 1 for 1 for 5 yards. Luke Musgrave, 1 for 1 for 3 yards. What else we got? Anything about defense? Anybody want to talk about defense? Let's talk about some defense. I love defense. Don't you love defense? We got some stats on defense. So they have this set up here where it's TAS, tackles, assists, and sacks. So we'll just start from top to bottom. Isaiah McDuffie, little bit of redemption here, I think. We'll see about the grades and everything. I think early on he had made a mistake, and I was really frustrated. And then I just felt like from then on, the guy was pretty unstoppable. But he led the team in tackles with 6, which isn't a ton. He had 3 assists and half a sack. Stokes actually had 5. Jair, 4 and 1. Quay Walker had 3 and a half a sack. Devontae Wyatt. Let's talk about this guy. Dude had 3 tackles, 1 assist, and 2 sacks. Let's go. Wyatt out there just wreaking havoc. Xavier McKinney, 3 tackles, 1 assist, and an interception. That's 3 games, 3 picks. Preston Smith, 3 tackles, 2 sacks. Let's see. Nixon, 2 tackles. Enigbare, 1 tackle, 3 assists, 1.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. This is such a fun little stat sheet here. Rashawn Gary, they didn't credit with a single sack, which I think is nonsense, but I think on that one, again, he had 1 taken away. There was 1 sack where I think he was the 3rd guy in, and I guess they just don't count it. They're like, nah. And we only give half sacks to the first 2 that got to the quarterback, but he was there. Let's see. Lucas Van Ness with 1 tackle, 1 sack. Kenny Clark, 1 tackle in the game. I don't know what to say. Eric Wilson, 1 tackle. Carl Brooks, 1 tackle. Cooper had 3 assists and a half a sack. Cooper was the man on that play, by the way. They blitzed him as a linebacker, and his speed is just absolutely out of control. So I don't think he played a ton, but they brought him in and just unleashed him, and holy crap, that dude can just get to the quarterback. After that, we got basically nothing. What is this over here? ST, special teams tackle and assist. Okay, so Adrian Cooper was on special teams, had an assist. Robert Rochelle, 1 tackle on special teams. Evan Williams had a tackle on special teams. Tucker Kraft with an assist. So there you go with that. Then the fine folks over at NFL.com were kind enough to provide a couple little details here. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and Devontae Wyatt all generated a team-high 4 pressures, while 9 other Packers also recorded at least 1 pressure in the Packers' win over the Titans. That's crazy. So again, Rashawn looked like he wasn't there. 4 pressures in the game, including, in my opinion, 2 sacks, but he didn't get any of them counted toward him. With Preston and Wyatt accounting for, 3 sacks? I think 3 sacks. Absolutely crazy. It goes on to say, in total, 12 Packers defenders recorded at least 1 pressure, tied for the second most in a single game by a Packers defense since 2018. The amount of records we're breaking right now, by the way, is insane. I mean, I shouldn't say records breaking, but just doing things that we haven't done since like the last time we were a good defense, or in this case, I guess it's kind of fluky. 2018 was not a good defense. Please throw to my freaking guy. Oh, sorry. I got $500 on the line. I need 14 yards to Tyler Johnson. Okay. Since 2018, where is that? Green Bay sacked Will Levis 8 times, tied for the most by any team in a game this season. Titans left guard Peter Skoronski allowed 7 pressures and 2.5 sacks on 44 pass blocks, 15.9% pressure rate. Skoronski has allowed a 15.4% pressure rate this season, the highest among left tackles entering Sunday afternoon. That's pretty crazy stuff. I tell you what, let's take a break. We'll come back. I want to rip through the rest of these. There's some really good details. I pulled some stats on my own, kind of going into some of the historicity of how incredible this has been. But we'll take our first break. We'll be right back. All right, continuing. Malik Willis had his most productive day of his career as a passer, completing 13 of 19 passes for a career-high 202 yards and a touchdown, 36% success rate. Willis completed all 9 of his attempts against the Titans' zone coverage, 142 yards and a touchdown, and went 4 for 10 for 60 yards against man. That is impressive. I mean, zone coverage really is just about understanding what you're looking at, reading the defense and knowing where the holes are going to be and understand. I mean, that's pretty solid. Willis also had his most productive day in his career on the ground, totaling 73 yards and a touchdown on 6 carries, plus 38 RYOE. So that's rush yards over expected. So he got 38 more yards than expected because dude's hard to bring down. His plus 38 RYOE is the most in his career and the most by any quarterback in a game this season. That is freaking crazy. Moving over to PFF so I can look at some of the team stats. Packers won time of possession, 32.5 to 27.5. They ran 40. This is crazy. I didn't even realize this. They ran 40 offensive plays. The Titans ran 19. Packers had more offensive yards, 378 to 273. I mean, they dominated yards per play, 12.5 to 9.5. But when you only run 19 offensive plays, that's crazy. Packers still way too many penalties. 10 penalties for 75 yards. The Titans only had 2. I mean, it's time to start cleaning it up. I got to start looking at some of the history of what the Packers are, like what is the normal? I know penalties happen, but every week getting 10 plus penalties is not good enough. It's just not. Touchdowns, 3-2. Field goals, 3 for 3. I thought he missed one, didn't he? I'm positive he missed one. Why does it say field goals 3 for 3? Whatever. PFF's freaking drunk. Turnovers, Packers 0, Titans 3, 1 fumble loss, 2 interceptions in the most glorious possible way. McKinney gets his, you couldn't, if you asked me, 2 picks, what does it look like? I'm pretty sure I would say McKinney, that's number 1. Every Packer fan says McKinney gets his 3rd. What is the next one? I don't know, man. I'm thinking Jair takes it the other way. You know what I mean? Obviously we'd have both of them, but let's just say, 1 pick and 1 pick 6. I think that's how I would draw it up, man. That was about perfect. What else? They don't have the stats for this for some weird reason, but passing yards, I think PFF's still drunk. Some of this stuff isn't filled out, so I'm just going to scroll. Efficiency. Packers were 5 for 14, which is 36%. They were only 3 of 9, though, so not good enough on third down for us. Defense did a really good job shutting them down. Fourth down, we didn't attempt any. They were 0 for 1. Red zone, we were 1 for 3. Again, need that to come up a little bit. Titans were 2 for 2, 100%. Pass deflections, 2-0. Interceptions, 2-0. Interceptions returned, 2-0. Pick sixes, 1-0. Forced fumbles, 1-0. Recovered, 1-0. Sacks, 8-3. Were there 3 against Malik? I don't remember that. 8-3. 8 sacks for 56 yards compared to 3 for 12. They obviously had more tackles. The losing team always has more tackles. Tackles for a loss, they tied at 6. Nobody cares. Punting, blah, blah, blah. Boring. So there's your team stats. And then finally for PFF, and they do give the snap counts, which will be really interesting, but just want to read what they have to say in the post game here. Malik Willis delivered his best performance in Week 3, leading the Green Bay Packers to a dominant 30-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans. Filling in for injured Jordan Love, who should be back in action next week. Fingers crossed. I'm adding that myself. Willis passed for 202 yards, blah, blah, blah. We know the stats. Willis accounted for nearly all of the Packers' first quarter offense, amassing 134 of their 137 yards. Wow. While cornerback Jair Alexander added to the early lead with his first career pick 6. I didn't even know that. That was his first career pick 6. Packers defense was relentless, recording over 20 total pressures and forcing 3 turnovers. Good Lord. Now, listen, I said coming into this game, I need to see something, right? The front 4 is just not generating enough pressure. Again, Halfley does a pretty good job of dialing up if you bring an extra guy here or there. But the one-on-ones, like the pressure rates are not good enough. We'll see what happened in this game. Still pretty skeptical of Kenny. I didn't see him. He had no stats in the game. I don't know what's going on. But, this was the game where it's like, look, beat up offensive line, not a good offensive line, not a mobile quarterback. What happens? 20 pressures and 3 turnovers as a result of the dominant force pressed on Will Levis. PFF's dedicated team of graders was hard at work analyzing every play, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, we've gathered some high snap counts. All right, let's take a look at the snap counts real quick. I mostly just want to find Edgerrin Cooper, see if he's getting more snaps. So 63 was the max, so that was our offensive line and quarterback and whatnot. You can kind of gauge as a percentage how much they all ran. Looking at the tight ends, Tucker Kraft is 43 compared to Luke Musgrave's 35. Again, I think part of that has to do with schematically. We're trying to be heavier and bigger up front. Tucker Kraft fills that role. Plus, I mean, he's just been more productive. I do think, though, Musgrave is not built necessarily for this style of offense. It's kind of the same with Christian Watson. I mean, he can help. He can be a massive asset, and Watson's done a great job as far as blocking and whatnot. But, taking shots down the field, Malik started to open it up, which is great. That's why you got Christian's first reception in the last, I think, 2 weeks. But I'm still confident in Luke Musgrave. I just think, asking him to block is kind of a disaster. He's been getting a lot of the short passes, and his ability, like Tucker is great at, it's a short pass. Now you got to turn up, and you got linebackers and corners coming at you, and you steamroll right through them. I don't know that that's Musgrave's thing. Musgrave is more of a 25-yard shot down the middle of the field. He catches it and goes down, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. Wide receiver snap counts. Romeo Doubs led the team with 47, kind of by a wide margin. Jaden Reed, 36. Watson, 34. Wicks, 29. Bo Melton, 16. Malik Heath, 11. And that's it. Oh, by the way, Ben Sims, 1 snap. So there you go. I think that was when Tucker Kraft went out. I don't even think it was an injury. I think his helmet got jacked up. Running backs, Josh Jacobs, 32 snaps. Emmanuel Wilson, 27. That's a pretty close split there. Again, I think they're kind of trying to take it easy on Josh Jacobs a little bit, which is good, but that's a decent split. And then Chris Brooks came in at the end for 4 snaps. Good for him. The guy that, in no other circumstance would he be carrying the ball, but it's cool to see him get going. Excited to learn a little bit more about him. I think that's it for the offense. Nothing else is interesting. Again, all the offensive line and quarterback were out there the whole time. Packers defense, it looks like 50 was the max. Quay and Xavier played all of that. So again, Quay is the every down guy. They're still on that. We'll see how he grades out and what happened. Anybody wants to go back and watch the film on it, whatever. I generally not excited, although down the stretch, I think everybody was having a good day. So we'll have to see. But Xavier McKinney obviously getting every single snap. Pretty close to every snap. Jair and Stokes, 49. I was kind of iffy on what was going on with Stokes. That's right. Valentine's out. That's what it was. I was going to say he kind of got taken out. I wasn't sure exactly what happened. But yeah, Jair and Stokes each played 49. Then Bullard, which I'm excited to see what happened with him. I didn't see him one time. Now, you can say that's a bad thing because he's coming up and making tackles a lot and all that stuff, but I don't think it's a bad thing when you're a DB and just your name just doesn't come up. Like nobody's throwing your way. Everything's fine. We'll see. I'm very curious to see how that all pans out. Any other safeties? Evan Williams had 4 snaps. Let's go by position here. So Xavier was 50, Bullard was 45, and then Evan Williams 4. So that's what it is. Obviously, they still love Javon Bullard, which is great. We'd all like Evan Williams to be getting more snaps, but at the same time, do you want Bullard off the field? I don't know. A lot of people mentioned maybe Williams could come in for the linebackers a little bit more, which maybe would be a decent idea, but everything's new. Let's give them some time to make some slow adjustments. I don't think they want to do anything super radical. Let's do corners now. Jair and Stokes, as I said, is 49. Keyshawn, 38. That's it. I was surprised. Nobody else came in. All right, linebackers. Quay, as I said, was 50. McDuffie, 37. Edrin Cooper, 19. So that is the most I think he's played. So that's good. They got him in, and he made some plays. And I think that's where we're at with Cooper right now. I think Cooper is a guy that they're scared to put out there because he's kind of not really sure what to do yet. And I think it would maybe be a little ugly if he played a whole game, but he's a playmaker. I mean, he's one of those guys, it's boom or bust. He's going to blow a coverage, it's going to be nasty, and then he's going to come in and get a sack or a pick or whatever. He's just a freaking wrecking ball, man. Every time he comes in, I'm excited about Edrin Cooper. He still has to kind of turn that corner, I think, to really being a guy that fully understands the defense. And once he gets there, I think he can be a massive asset, assuming he gets there. There's no guarantee. But I'm excited about him. I'm glad to see his snaps go up. And then Eric Wilson only had 6 snaps on the day. Edge rushers, Rashawn Gary, 35, Preston, 30, Lucas Van Ness, 21. So he's taken some steps. He was kind of buried a little bit. He's outsnapped Kingsley by 1. Kingsley had 20. And then Aaron Mosby had 1 snap. And then I think finally defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, 32, Wyatt, 26. So Wyatt is really stepping up as Slayton kind of was the guy before. Not so much anymore. I don't know if that's a Halfley thing, trying to get some internal pressure, or just the fact that Slayton's not very good. I don't know. But Kenny, 32, Wyatt, 26. Carl Brooks, 22, kind of slotting in there as big dog. Slayton comes in at number 4 with just 16 snaps. So, again, might just be a game plan thing. We'll check it week to week. But, Slayton is dropping down the board here a little bit with Carl Brooks kind of emerging, which is interesting and I would say exciting, assuming he's producing. I don't really know. Tell you what, folks, let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's have some fun. Let's loosen it up a little bit. We got a great locker room speech, and I want to listen to people be not happy about the Packers being better than they're supposed to be, because it's funny. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
We a family, man. I'll tell you what, 2 weeks in a row, not only complimentary, but unselfish as man. What a great team win. Give it up for yourself. I'm telling you, that was a dominant performance. There was playmakers all around, from our specialists with Narverson coming back here. And we had Daniel Wheeler freaking averaging 49 yards a punt. How about give it up for the O-line? 37 carries for 188, and it's not just you guys. Give it up for the wideouts blocking their ass. How about give it up for Emmanuel Wilson for his first touchdown? And what a dominant performance by our defense. 8 sacks. 8 sacks. The ball, we're +3 today, man. How about John Money with the we had JJ with the sack fumble. And X just keeps getting more picks. Game balls for the entire defense today, man. And I've got one other special game ball. This guy was 13 and 19 for 202. 73 yards on the ground.
Appreciate y'all having my back, bro. Appreciate y'all having my back, bro. That's all I ask, bro.
Great job.
Hey, man. Like I said last week, the best teams, man, they keep building off wins. They keep building off this. It's the process in which we got here, man. Let's keep on the process. Everything you did last week to be in this position, do it again. And let's lean on our brothers. Packers on 3. 1, 2, 3.
First of all, how fantastic is that? Just like by itself. How fantastic is that? Second of all, it took them a long time to get through all that. How about this? How about this? How about that? Oh, and don't forget about this. Oh, and 8 sacks, by the way. Oh, just ridiculous. I mean, he started the whole thing off by saying dominant. That's the only way I can think to describe it. Not perfect. Lots of penalties, whatever, et cetera, but that is, I mean, it feels like a little bit of a different kind of team, especially on defense. Because I'm not really used to this. Maybe I'm just not used to this style of defense. And we've talked about it before. It's a little more aggressive, so you're going to give up some stuff, but you get more in return as far as, sacks and picks and everything. But I can't help but critique stuff that I'm not used to seeing as much. I'm like, well, why did they do that? Why you're not supposed to do that? So then I got that in my head, like, but they keep doing the thing with the thing. And then you stop and look at it, it's like, dude, they beat the crap out of them. Like, it wasn't even close. That was one of the most dominant defensive performances I've ever seen, and I'm sitting here going, remember that one guy was wide? Like, why was that guy open? I don't understand. I don't understand. So I went back and looked, and I believe the Packers have 9 turnovers in 3 weeks when you include all the fumbles and interceptions. I got another Prize Picks bet. I just need 2 things. One of them was Kirk Cousins gets a touchdown. He just got it. So, all right, all I need is Josh Allen to throw like 31 passes or something, and I'm set. $160. All right. I just want to go back and double check that, because today they had 3, right? They had the fumble recovery, jaw pick 6, and Xavier McKinney. So let's see, before that, we had a Devontae Wyatt and Bo Melton fumble recovery. So that brings us up to 5. Xavier had 2 previous picks, which would be 6, 7. Actually, Wilson, Jair, and Williams have picks. That would be 10, actually, wouldn't it? So we had 7 coming into this game and got 3 more. Xavier McKinney 2, Wilson had a pick, Jair had a pick, Williams had a pick, Wyatt and Bo Melton had fumble. We had 10 coming into this game. Somehow I got that wrong. And then 3 more. Well, anyways, my numbers are going to be a little bit off. I'm not going to run them again. Let's just say I somehow got this wrong and it was 9. I did a little digging. I just wanted to look into some of this. So since 1999, it's as far as this data goes back. This is sort of a giant database that you can search, do query searches and whatnot. Actually, the question was posed. Bad data and all, let's go through some things I found because it illustrates the point regardless. Ari Miroff tweeted out, Packers defense today versus Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 pick 6, 1 fumble forced, 1 fumble recovery. Green Bay improves to 2-1. I said, did some digging, and since 1999, this has only ever been done 13 times, and it's the first time by the Packers in that span. Quite a start for Hafley. Then, our buddy Bruce Edmonds, he asked me on social media, he said, I don't have the bandwidth to find these stats, search like crazy, but it's the most turnovers by the Packers. Is this the most turnovers by the Packers through 3 games? And I said, can't be positive with the numbers are accurate, but I look back to 1999, and through 3 weeks, I see 57 times a team has done what the Packers have done just with turnovers. The Packers did it 3 times. So in the first 3 weeks, in 2021, 2022, and 2001, 2002, and 2009, the Packers were able to accomplish this. Now, I went back and checked, and it's a little bit fuzzy, but it doesn't matter. Pretty solid defenses, especially 2001 and 2009. I go on to say, but if you add in the sacks, only 14 teams have ever had a 3-game start like this. Packers in 2001 is the only one to make that. So only one Packers team since 99, only 14 teams since 99 have started off with this number of interceptions and sacks. In fact, let me pull it up and just see, because it's such a small amount of people or teams. If it was actually 10 sacks, yeah, they all get at least that, so it doesn't matter. The numbers don't, or not. It wasn't sacks, it was takeaways. Right, it was 10. So if it's 10, then only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams did it. The Packers still are one of them. So the Packers supposedly in 2001, 4 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries, 15 sacks. Holy bajoblies. I guess that's 5 a game, but still, that's crazy. 10 total takeaways. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, this is a really, really impressive start. Like, stupidly impressive start. And once the dust settles and everything, it's going to be real good to just go back, just take a step back, look at the NFL and go, what the heck? Because I don't know what's going on. You know, everything changes every year. It's not, breaking news. Teams are different than last year, but this is wildly different. The Atlanta Falcons are beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, do I expect the Chiefs to win? Yes, I do, because they always come back and win these games. But it's not the most dominant Chiefs team I've ever seen. Week 1, they look good. Pat Mahomes has not looked good. The New York Giants just beat Cleveland. They seem to have discovered that Malik Neighbors exists. The Bears, shockingly, are seemingly worse than they were with Fields, which is incredible. The Minnesota Vikings stomped out the Houston Texans, and I've been saying for a while, I don't think the Texans are really that good. But still, 34-7, it doesn't matter if that's the worst team in football. That's an impressive score. C.J. Stroud looked like garbage, but I think a lot of that is every time I look, it's like 3rd and 25. Whether that's penalties or whatever. I mean, the Vikings defense had them completely flustered. So I don't know what the Texans are or if they're even a good team. And C.J. Stroud is, once the grades come out tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not even a top 20 quarterback right now. Although I don't know who would be in the top 20, a bunch of weird names. I don't know if C.J. makes it. And on the flip side, Darnold didn't have the great, he threw like 100 and some odd yards. 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns he threw. New Orleans lost to Philadelphia, and I didn't think Philadelphia was good, so I don't know what to make of that. Pittsburgh is one of the few 3-0 teams. Pittsburgh Steelers fans are doing backflips saying that the Steelers are one of the best teams in the AFC, which sounds stupid until you actually look at it. It's like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Denver beat Tampa. I thought Tampa was good. I thought Denver was pathetic, 26-7. I don't understand that. Carolina beat the crap out of the Raiders, 36-22. I understand they changed their quarterback to the Red Rocket. Maybe not the best nickname in the world, but it is his name. 36 points from who? I mean, you want to talk about an indictment of the Bears? That's it right there. They don't have receivers. They have nothing. They had one wide receiver. They gave him to the Bears. Seattle dominated Miami. That wasn't super surprising. Detroit beat Arizona, but I don't think Goff looked great. Because that's the other thing. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in football through 2 weeks. So it's kind of a question of where is he at right now? 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Not the best day, not the worst day, I guess. Baltimore beat the Dallas Cowboys. I can't say I'm super surprised. I mean, Dallas was 0-2. It's just, it felt impossible they can go to 0-3, and Dallas is another one you look at, similar to Houston and some other teams where it's like, I just kind of think they're bad. I don't know, man. And then one of the greatest things, the Rams, who have been kind of floundering, beat the 49ers, who just don't look like the 49ers are always this team that's just solid and they don't make mistakes. They beat San Francisco. They look like just the better team. So I again, point is, I have no idea what the heck is going on anymore. I don't know who's good and who's bad. It's going to be a weird day tomorrow when I look at it and go, oh, it's going to be one of those things where you look at it, and if you were to post it on Twitter, it'd be like, well, that shows you how stupid PFF is. It's like, well, I mean, maybe they're not perfect, but honestly, probably. But anyways, let's get into this because it's funny. Paul Farrington Show, as always, Minnesota Vikings fans. Apparently Jack, who I don't watch the show a ton, but that dude cracks me up. He is hilarious. He is a Steelers fan, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he just became one. He's all decked out in Steelers gear and is convinced that the Steelers are top 3 team, better than the Chiefs in the AFC right now, which I don't even feel the need to argue with him. It's probably stupid, but it's funny, and who knows? Maybe it's true. As long as we can pump up how great Fields is, I'm happy. But they know how to bait Packers fans. They're very, very good at this. Packer fans are always swarm. It's how they blew up their channel, is just talking about the Packers. But they very wisely named this snippet of their podcast, Please Not Again. Malik Willis balls out. Packers dominate Titans. Green Bay rolling without Jordan Love. Let's just start right here.
Listen, yeah, Ziggy, it is a head in the hands kind of a day for watching the Green Bay Packers. Now, look, the Vikings were thrilled. Vikings Steelers were thrilled. But in terms of us getting excited about really getting a grasp on the NFC North here, it was a day where guys like me and you might walk back on some things that were said this week.
Well, yeah, and it's, I wasn't looking forward to recording this show because, as every Packers fan knows, I have been hard on Malik Willis. I have come out and said that I don't think he can be an NFL quarterback, that I think as long as he's playing for you, you have basically no chance to win. I mean, I picked the Colts and the Titans to beat the Packers because Malik Willis was playing. And, maybe the first week, right? You could say, well, he ran a bunch. The game plan was sort of built around that. He didn't really show much. This game was different. That was nowhere near competitive. There was no point when you thought maybe the Titans can win this. And that was primarily on the back of Malik Willis throwing the ball. He had some great completions to Christian Watson, a handful of those. Some good passes to Jaden Reed, a nice touchdown to Emmanuel Wilson. Like, again, I mean, it's not Patrick Mahomes, but he was a very good quarterback today and was a major...
sorry to tell you, but Pat Mahomes has been worse. So there you go.
Reason, not just why the Packers won, but why they won 30-14. So Malik Willis, I'm sorry. Packers fans who I've been arguing with all week, I'm sorry. Clearly you saw something I don't, and I'll be there when the Tom Clements Hall of Fame wing opens.
Oh, I mean, he was awesome. This was his revenge game. He wanted to play in this game.
By the way, nice little nugget there from Ziggy. Just shouting out the historic quarterback coach that we have. It was a nice little deep cut there.
And there was never a doubt. He's better than.
Wait, what do you mean? When
that.
they asked him if he wanted to play in the game, he said, I got paid when I was there.
I swear to God, he wanted to play in this game. There is no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, there was something in there.
And he showed it today. Like, he was absolutely awesome. Spread the ball around. I mean, this was an ass whooping.
It was dominant,
to say the least. I picked Green Bay in this game. I did not think it would be like this. I didn't think that he would look the way he did, and he'd score 30 points on the road. And these guys now, look at this. Jordan Love's hurt. Malik wins 2 games, 2-1. Now Love's probably back. I mean, just absolutely perfect for the Blue Sky franchise there in Green Bay.
Is there something in the water there? Like, how do they take Malik Willis, who is absolute garbage of the Tennessee Titans, and just make him into a powerful NFL quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happens in Green Bay. I actually thought so the Titans game, when it started off with Willis, I don't take back anything from last week where we said he wasn't super impressive. He just, executed the game plan at a high level. But in terms of throwing the ball, I didn't think Malik did anything that blew your mind away against the Colts. And then all of a sudden, pretty quickly into this Titans game, he really, like, their first drive, I think it was, he had a few throws where all of a sudden I sat back and went, oh, all right, he showed up today. Like, the arm is there today.
Oh, you can he's not wrong about that. Because, listen, here's the dirty little secret. I understand there's a lot of Packer fans that are they're on that positive kick. Right, no matter what, bro. You say Malik can't play, Malik's going to dominate. It's just fine, and they were right, just like they were right about Love and a lot of other things. There was no information whatsoever that pointed to Malik playing the way that he's playing. There is no information anywhere in the world that if you were doing this rationally, you would have come to that conclusion. So I don't disagree with anything that they're saying. That you look at the data and you say this isn't going to go well. Unless there's like a great game plan. And like you said, you watch the first game and go, well, that was impressive. But, game plan, leaning on. This game, he's just slinging it, right? It's just crazy.
On the first drive, too, he ran into the end zone, right? The first drive was 7-0 a few minutes in.
Yeah, he's 13 for 19, 202 yards, a touchdown, no picks, 6 rushes for 73 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he balled out. He was just awesome.
He had that sense of urgency. He was the quarterback the Packers wanted today.
Yeah, QB controversy, man.
Hey, I said in the last show, he wins this game, goes 2-0.
They showed a graphic during the game. I don't know if you caught this, guys, but it showed his first 3 starts in Tennessee, 51% completion, 83% this is like through the third quarter. 83% in Green Bay through 2 starts, 234 yards in 3 games with the Titans, 324 in 2 with Green Bay, 0 touchdowns.
The look on Ziggy's face right now, he's just in disgust.
3 picks with the Titans, 2 touchdowns, 0 at the time with Green Bay. I mean, his quarterback rating was 39 versus 131.7. Like, I don't understand how they do this. Maybe there is something in the water, Ziggy, but someone texted, the Titans must be regretting this and letting him go because he looks better than Levis. And I texted back and said, well, if he was in Tennessee, he'd be horrible. But now that he's a Packer, all of a sudden, he takes a switch. So congrats to Malik. I mean, that was pretty cool for him to go and get a big revenge spot.
I mean, last night I was shoving cheese down my throat and drinking beer all night. So
that's what Wisconsin.
That freaking Jack guy, man, he cracks me up.
I think I propelled some good juju for the Packers today.
It was the perfect showing for a Packer team. The defense was also awesome today because the Titans looked, they competed with the Jets. I mean, they should have beat the Bears. They're 0-3 now, but they've been competitive in their first 2 weeks. And
that is a funny note, by the way. Remember what everybody said. I went through the whole list of why everybody picked the Titans. And the number one thing, aside from the whole run game deal, is they should have won the first 2 games. It was fluky, right? It was basically a fluke. They should be 2-0. Levis made a stupid mistake. If he doesn't just act stupid, they win that game. The Bears game is one of the worst examples I've ever seen in my life of you've got this game put away, just punt every single time. Don't touch the ball. Don't do anything. Just get rid of the ball. They couldn't help but give the Bears points every opportunity they had. It was disgusting. This is the first time the Titans played where you're like, oh no, they just got the crap beat out of them. That wasn't like, oh, they just made a mistake. And no. There was never a time where the Titans were the team.
This was, like you said, Jack, just an ass whooping from the start on both sides of the ball. Sorry, Isaiah, you looked like you want to say something?
I was just going to say, yeah. I mean, it was good on both sides of the ball, right? 8 sacks. 2 big interceptions, including a Jair Alexander pick 6.
Yep.
Absolutely everybody feasted this game. Lucas Van Ness got a sack. Xavier McKinney got an interception. Devontae Wyatt, didn't he get 2 sacks? Quay Walker got in there for a sack. Jair Alexander, obviously with that pick six, he has ridiculous, like a giant wrestling belt. That clearly he's just been waiting to break out for whenever he eventually gets a pick six. But
Still shocked that that's his first one. I didn't know that. And by the way, I believe the story is somebody gave him that belt. I want to say it was like a fan or something handed it to him.
I mean, you have to be satisfied as much as, I mean, this Titans offense isn't the best in the NFL, but holding a team to 30 rushing yards in the NFL is.
By the way, didn't catch that one. That's insane. That's insane.
Hard to do. I don't care who you're playing. Will Levis.
And by the way, that's what they were supposed to. That's where they win. They win on the ground. They should have been able to run the ball because they're successful on the ground. You know, Tony Pollard, really good running back. Running the ball against a weak run defense. That was the whole way that they win. And then their run defense stopping us. So on the ground is where they win. On both sides of the ball. I did not realize that was the number. That's crazy. All right, let's do a little bit more.
You know, he's had ups and downs, but this game was many more downs than ups. Yep. And, you know, it's one thing. I mean, the Packers saw this last year, right? Even when the offense gets off to a hot start, if you don't want the game to get close again, you need the defense to play well for 4 quarters of the game. Because it just takes 2 drives letting up, and suddenly the Titans have 2 touchdowns. There was no let up.
Yeah, did you see that?
And it felt like there was going to be, because remember, they shut them down. So that first drive, they scored a touchdown. Shut them down. And then, I forget I think it was like a 3-and-out for the Packers, and they drove right down and got a touchdown. And it's like, guys, don't do it. Please don't do this. You know, because it kind of happened against the Colts where they started to get soft, and all of a sudden 15-yard run, 20-yard pass, and it was just like, it's too early, don't do it. And I felt like it was and I don't know if that's when the Jair pick six happened or something, but at some point, the defense just clicked on, and it was just one of the biggest beatings I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen, I don't think, in my years of watching as a Packer fan, I think there's been other games. There was that one game where Justin Fields got sacked like 12 times or whatever it was, something stupid. I think it was against the Steelers. I don't know. Might have been the Browns, actually. I think Myles Garrett. I don't know. And I don't know what the sack number was. Maybe it was 8. I don't know. But I've never seen a Packers team just so easily overwhelm an offensive line. As soon as that ball got snapped, the offensive, it was just like, get out of my way. And like I said before, this is just a race to the quarterback. That's all it is. First one to get to the quarterback, it's a sack. There was no competition. That's just crazy.
Do you see the forced fumble too? It was Kingsley. I can't remember his name. I can't pronounce the last name off the top of my head. It was King, but 55 on Green Bay. I mean, he came in and just smoked Levis to force the fumble. Like, they were hitting hard. It was.
It's another really good point. Violent football team. Like, it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna come in. Like, that was like a crossbody, like WWE. Like, I'm just gonna. I want your body to explode when I make contact with you.
Yeah, I'm 33 rushing yards for Tennessee compared to 188 for Green Bay.
I feel like these last 2 weeks, especially today, really showed this team as a whole, as a unit, especially the defense, rose to the occasion and played with that extra oomph for Malik Willis.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that was my big thing even last week that I said. You can feel the difference in the team. It felt like when Jordan was out there was a lot, drop by Malik, or drop by, everybody's Malik for some reason. Drop by Wicks, drop here, this. It's just like, and I don't know if it's that syndrome that we get. Remember how the whole team revolved around Aaron Rodgers, and he had to drag everybody? I'm not saying all the time, but there were just times where it's like, if he doesn't play, nobody can do anything anymore. And so I feel like there was just some apathy once in a while where guys are just like, whatever, dude, it's on Rodgers. Like, I'm just this tiny little thing. I don't really matter. And when Malik came in, everybody realized, like, no, this is not on the quarterback. This is on me. And I don't know if that stays when Jordan comes back. I hope so. Because if it does, if Matt stays in his bag and keeps calling plays the way that he's calling plays, and you have the threat of Jordan, which, granted, it's going to be hard to even keep pace with what Malik did, but obviously he has capabilities beyond what Malik did. Some of the deeper shots, some of the more creative play calls or whatever it is that they got in there, he has just a better, I would say, mind and arm for being able to execute some things. That makes it a little bit easier for the run game. See Josh Jacobs kind of break out a little bit. But we gotta keep doing this. It can't be like, man, we were at a 10 because we had Malik, and then we go down to a 7 because, we got Jordan. Don't do that. If you stay at a 10, this team is dominant. I had a Vikings fan, can never remember. Give me a second here. Peter Larson, talked about him before. He's the resident Vikings fan that's always in my DMs anytime something happens. But he was just talking about the situation coming up with Packers and Vikings and how, this really is, it feels anyways, like the showdown of the NFC North. I understand the Lions are right there. I think the Lions are third in the division, if you ask me right now. The Vikings can't be messed with. Their defense is just too dominant, and the offense is having no issues cutting through everybody. The Packers have one of the scariest defenses in football right now, as far as just aggression with sacks and picks and everything else. Also, the stats are not terrible, in this game and beyond. And then you look at the wide receiver core with Jordan Love back. I don't understand it, but I feel like that's where we're at. Now, if Goff kind of wakes up and stops playing like, garbage, then they can be right back in it. But, again, I don't care about the record. People, oh, really? Look at the record. I don't care. It's not about the record. It's about the team. It's about how they're playing. It's about, over the course of 17 games, what happens if you play this way the whole time? The Lions are not going to be the top team if they keep playing that way. So, we'll see. I'm still skeptical of the Vikings, but I feel like they did this before too. Where it's like, remember last year they lost Cousins and then they kept playing well, and I don't understand that. And then Jefferson goes down and they keep winning, and it's like, what are you doing? It's very similar. And again, it's like, you got hats off to the coaching staff for just finding a way to do it. But anyways, I was talking to Peter, I was like, I can't believe this is going to be a matchup of the NFC North. He said, forget NFC North. This could be the entire freaking NFC. And again, you kind of think about it and you're like, I don't know about that. And it's like, well, who? Atlanta? Who? Who's the team? San Francisco? Give me a break. Philly? Maybe, but I know they beat us. But again, it was a real tight game. The defense wasn't to the point that it is right now, and Jordan didn't have a super great game. Now again, I'm assuming that was just a down game and he's going to get back to how he always was. I don't know. We got to see it. This is only game 2 for him. But yeah, again, if you just look at the situation and where we're at, I think Detroit has taken a step back. Arizona, was really scary in that win, and you can see what Kyler can do that's scary. But at the same time, right after I talked him up, I'm watching, he's throwing some of the most ridiculous, terrible balls ever. It's like, I don't know about all that. Dallas is a joke. The Rams beat San Francisco. Thank you for that, but they're just really struggling. Carolina might be one of the top teams. The NFC is not massively strong to begin with, and the powerhouses are not that scary. Again, I think Detroit, San Francisco took a step back. Philly seems good, decent, nowhere near the team they were in the first half. Better than the second half, nowhere near as good as they were in the first half. Who is that? I remember last year, I think it was 49ers and Eagles. They had hit stretches where it's like, there hasn't been a team this good, like, ever. It's scary how good these teams are. Nobody's doing that right now. What's going on in the Chiefs game real quick? We're going to get out of here, but I'm just going to see if I can solidify my point here real quick. Yeah, 14-13. And again, I'm sure the Chiefs are going to win. They always win these stupid games. It's close. You're like, Chiefs, you suck, and they find a way to win. That's every time that happens. But it doesn't matter. This shouldn't be a close game. That's the point. And I don't know. I don't really fully understand it. But anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Victory Monday. And I think last Victory Monday got all messed up because with all the podcast stuff that was going on, so that kind of got ruined. I don't know who got to hear it, who didn't, and whatnot, so I'm glad. We got a new Victory Monday. It's a new day. 2-0 the last 2 weeks, and I think there's a good chance anyways Jordan Love is back next week. It's not 100%, but we're on the other side of 50% in my mind. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Down in Nashville, sun shining bright.
The Packers came to town ready to fight. Malik was flying 2 touchdowns to his name. Titans tried to keep up, but it wasn't their game. Packers rolling 30-14. Defense second look visit was mean. Titans 0-3, can't catch a break, while Green Bay's got what it takes. First quarter fire, 17 on the board. Titans came back but couldn't score much more. 8 sacks now, turnovers too. Packers showed the world what they can do. Packers rolling 30-14. Defense second look visit was mean. Titans 0-3, can't catch a break, while Green Bay's got what it takes. Now we're moving on, another win in sight. The Titans left searching for the light. Green Bay's rising, keeping it tight. Packers all the way, we're ready to fight. Packers rolling 30-14. Defense second love as it was mean. Titans 0-3, can't catch a break, while Green Bay's got what it takes. Packers rolling 30-14. Defense second look visit was mean. Titans 0-3, can't catch a break, while Green Bay's got what it takes. Now we're moving on, another win in sight. Titans left searching for the light. Green Bay's rising, keeping it tight. Packers all the way, we're ready to fight.